My brother texted me a picture of this 1983 GTI. It was sitting in some guy's backyard in Arizona. It's been sitting for about 20 years. Neither of the external handles work, so you gotta open it like this. The seats are disappointingly thrashed. It's busted. It's too bad. Overall, not bad. Almost no rust. It's got the sunroof. Oh yeah, let's pop the hood. Popped. Terrified to open up the air box. It's got mouse and rat droppings all over. Sienna loves it, huh, Sienna? Pretty stoked. One thing about cars that have been sitting for a long time is you tend to find little spots like this where the rats have been hanging out. They've also chewed away at all of the spark plug wires, it looks like. A lot of wiring in this car. Things like that need to be redone. More rat droppings. It's gonna be a little project. So initial plans to get her running. We're gonna do plugs and obviously plug wires because that's all that's left of them. Okay, I just redid the plugs and wires. So swapped all those out, and then the wires, this was literally the only thing that was left of all of the wires right here. So put some NGK wires, some Champion plugs. The biggest part of this project is definitely going to be the wiring and the interior. The interior is kind of a mess. There's almost zero rust on this car, so that alone made it worth it. But check this wiring harness out right here. So that's going to be a lot of redoing the wiring, and everywhere you look there's kind of just cut wires or wires that are together like this. They aren't even matching colors. It's kind of a nightmare, and these aren't even soldered. They're literally just wrapped together like this and taped. If you're wiring up a car, don't use electrical tape. It doesn't work. Even if the wires aren't cut and they're going to the right place, a lot of them have been chewed up by the mice that have made this car home for the past 20 years. Just wrapping wires around other wires. So this right here explains the wiring of the car. Just pulled this out of the fuse box. That was one end of the fuse, that was the other. Some crappy electrical tape for a switch. Come on, guys. So I'm gonna power wash this whole thing. So this is after I've cleaned out most of the engine bay. That's still pretty bad, actually. That's the air box. Did not know this was back here. Freaking score. So just found a box full of stuff. Intake piping. Let's see. Keys, new door handles. Yes! Oh, that's so... Oh, there's a wiring harness. Oh, baby. Woohoo! Oh, this is the best day ever. Oh, this is gonna save me so much money. The rear view mirror. Finally be able to see who's behind me. That's so nice. So this is the color of the gas right now. Gas tank. Definitely gonna drop that and clean it out. So here's the inside of the Rabbit. It's got the door card, it's just off. It's the seat. So I got some new seats for it off of Facebook Marketplace. I actually bought them for 50 bucks. They smelled really bad. They were kind of dirty, so I cleaned them up, sprayed them, and they are fantastic. At this point, I was willing to actually sit in the car because it's got new seats. So I wanted to see if it would fire up. It didn't. The first thing I decided to do was check for spark. I wanted to look at the distributor cap and rotor because those are quick and easy checks and cheap. There was quite a bit of corrosion on the cap on each of the points you can see there. And the rotor itself wasn't looking too hot either. So, hopefully we start getting spark after this and we can start her up. Alright, new cap and rotor. And nothing. One of the things that I do to kind of keep motivated with the project is just kind of doing random little aesthetic things that are kind of fun, even though the car still isn't starting. So I'm redoing the valve cover, gonna paint that, and then while I'm doing it, I figured I may as well swap out the valve cover gasket because this one was obviously not doing anything anymore. So put a new valve cover gasket in, and then I went ahead and painted the valve cover. And if you guys remember how the engine bay looked before, I'm pretty stoked about how good it's looking now. So now it's time to make sure we're actually getting spark. This is just the wire coming directly off the ignition coil onto the block, and that is getting spark. Here's the spark plug. That is also getting spark. So we know we have spark. Let's try and see if it'll fire up now. Come on. Nope. I just found the original something from 1983, February 28th, 1983. Pretty cool. So now that I know we have spark, the next thing to check for is fuel, and it turns out the fuel injectors are completely clogged, probably because they've been sitting for 20 years in old gas. So I'm going to soak them in some seafoam. I don't really want to have to buy new injectors because they're like 50 bucks a piece, and I just had a baby and don't have a ton of money, so I'm trying to do this rebuild on a budget. So after soaking them in the seafoam overnight and flushing them a few times, they actually look pretty good. So now let's try again to start it up with the clean injectors. Oh! It actually almost started up right here. I got super excited. Come on! Come on! So close to starting here, but I still couldn't get it to kick over. Ah, you son of a gun. So the interior is looking awesome. Love the new seats, and the door cards are in. We're getting really close, so subscribe to watch the rest of the build.